As if the McCrispy couldn't get any better, Bacon and Ranch just entered the chat. The Bacon Ranch McCrispy, available at participating McDonald's for a limited time. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
This episode is brought to you by FX's Dave, starring the one and only Dave Bird, also known as rapper Lil Dicky. This season, Dave is headlining his first ever tour and looking for love along the way. But as he and the gang crisscross America, they discover firsthand how often fame puts pressure on love and friendship. And of course, some famous friends drop by, like Killer Mike, Jack Harlow, Travis Barker, and Demi Lovato, to name a few. FX's Dave, all new Wednesdays on FXX. Stream on Hulu.
The thing is, until you can erase 3 Februaries, shut up. Bang! Quality over quantity. LeBron has beaten some of the best competition in NBA history. He's the GOAT emoji. I will not cuss. I will not cuss. I will not swear. I will not swear.
Where sports is the base, life and fun are the results. This is the Brian Snow Show.
An early afternoon version thereof. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this special edition of the Brian Snow Show and the Brian Snow Podcast. A little Tekken 3 to warm things up, and thank you all for joining me. Well, I have a very special guest on the way, and to a lot of Green Bay Packer fans, you will recognize said guest when I bring him on and when he checks in here in the next couple of moments. And he has a story to share. Let's go to Norway. We go to the Fanatics feedback zone immediately. Ah, yes, says Sick Diggy, the soundtrack from Tekken 3. Yep, you better believe it. And who's the character? Of course he knows. It's Jim Kasama, I should say. Well, here is the best way I can introduce my special guest for today, who has a hell of a story to share. But to those of us who've watched football for many years, his story began like this.
So with their best receiver out of the game, from the 35, 19 seconds left. Ball pumps, throws, touchdown!
Hey, who is that mystery man? This mystery man played at Washington State University, and that was Favre's first game winner. And the fellow who caught it joins me right now. Number 85 himself, Kitrick Taylor, joins me on this special edition of the Brian Snow Show. Good afternoon, my friend. Great to have you.
Thanks for having me, Snow. How you doing today?
I am doing well. I've been wanting to do this interview and this chat with you for a while. We've had so many mix-up with our schedules, and then my health went downstairs for a while, but it's back up, and it's finally great to have you. What was that like when you caught that pass, and then the whole state of Wisconsin exploded? What was that like?
You know, it's funny. I pinched myself after the catch and sitting on the bench, but that was the most adrenaline part of football that I ever played in. It was huge. And then me not even playing that game, but 3 plays and have to come in and do something like that. I can't even describe it, but it was a great moment. I loved it.
It is so crazy because Don Majkowski was the starting quarterback for the Packers, and then he got injured, and then I don't know, some guy named Brett Favre comes in, was given the task of all tasks, as Jim Lampley correctly described it. You want a challenge? Try this. So what does Brett Favre do? He takes your team 92 yards down the field, and then you hauled in the game winner, and it just seems so smooth at the time. But I know you had to have butterflies the size of boulders when you realized, hey, that's coming to me.
Yeah, I do recall in the game. So, okay, we have to win. So I'm out there and I'm just lined up. And I said, he's not going to look for me. I'm just another guy coming on the field. But as I released, the defender didn't get his hands on me. I released down the field straight by myself. And yeah, it was amazing because when I can recall when the ball was coming, it seemed like the lights went out and it was silent. And it was just me and that ball. And it was like, oh my God, he's throwing me this ball. Are you kidding me? And I just put my hands there, bread basket, and then the lights came on and the crowd went crazy. And I was like, wow, this is really happening. But that was a great moment. That was a great moment.
And it's a moment that will forever be immortalized, for you and for everyone that was involved. How did that play shape your football career?
Well, it was great, just knowing just of course catching a touchdown is a great thing in the NFL, but even knowing that was like that put Brett Favre on the map, even though that year gave us the momentum. But I wrote a book, but in my book it talks about this. Like I had a great, I was still there for 10 more games, and then week 12, I believe it was, I got released, and it was due to a few things, but that it was like a bittersweet moment, to be able to do that, and then 10 games later, but it was great, and I don't regret it. I love it. I'm glad I'm a part of Packet history. A great organization. Brett's a great quarterback, and it's just good to be part of his Hall of Fame legacy.
Now it sparked a book that you wrote, Behind the Quiet Smile, and I've wanted to know about this book. I've wanted to talk to you about it. Tell me how you came up with the name, and tell me how you came up with that. Tell me how that all that came about.
Yeah, so the book is basically it's about my life's journey from age 8 all the way up to 58. Just my experiences, good, bad, or different. The things that I've seen while growing up when I was a young man, just the traumas that I had to go through, but yet still having that dream, make it to some type of professional level, basketball or football, because I was a pretty good, not about bragging, but I was a pretty good basketball player also. But just going through that, seeing that while I was young, and having to either pick and choose whether should I go, be in the gangs or be in the street versus keep working and towards my dream, and it happened, and I got the scholarship at Washington State, and and the book talks about my experiences, like things that I created myself, the issues versus things that came to me, the unexpected, but how I just continue to push through it all, and then make it, getting drafted in the NFL. It's just the whole thing talks about just real life experiences, and the takeaway is pretty much just no matter what you go through, no matter what happens, in life, you can still do it. Just keep pressing forward, and I'm a faith man. I believe in God, and I just give it to God, and you just do your part. But don't do a lot of things that I did in that book. Do a lot of things that I did in that book. The successes, the triumphs, the red lights, the green lights. So that book is really entailed a lot. Even after NFL, it talks about my life. So it's a takeaway to where just keep pressing. But yeah, it took me 4 years to do it. But again, you mentioned, Brian, that I was praying for you that you overcame this illness, and God is good. I also too, back in last October, fell ill, stressing, and my bladder erupted. I had a hole in my intestines. I had pneumonia all at the same time. I had to get 2 pints of blood because of transfusion, and still having to deal with that, but bounce back like you did, Brian, and being relentless. And God, He brought me through that. And that's also talked about in my book. But just persevering, just know that you can do it. So that's what my book is all about. Just you got this. You got this if you keep going. Yeah.
Perseverance is such a key to life, because I had 2 events thrown at me: the blood clots in my lungs, June of 21, and then later on that same summer getting diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. And basically, wife and I being told, get your affairs in order because Brian's going to die. My wife said, I'm not having none of that. And I was so chemoed out at the time. I was taking oral chemotherapy. You know, you follow me on social media. You saw what was going on with me. And look, I like I said, my wife basically said, I'm not having none of that. You promised me a 50th wedding anniversary, and you're going to keep that promise. You know, so we both have stories to share. And now, not only did you put it in the book, which is what I'm going to do probably a year from now, you also put it in the form of something. You also put it in the form of the Taylor Talk Show. Tell me about that.
And you saw that, yeah. So as I'm, I'm always in the mode of helping people. I work with kids here, helping kids reach their goals and just, pushing them as well. But, I just asked God to give me something that, that I can continue to help people that's relevant right now. So I've done this talk show. It was just a basic talk show here on Facebook. And so I asked God to just, enlarge my territory to where I can really reach the masses. And other night I laid up and I was thinking about what he gave me, you've been, on your own for like the last, because I've been divorced. I've been divorced for like 9 months now, but you've been on your own and you're making it. What are you doing to make it? Like, and I'm like, okay, I'm doing myself and I'm doing good. And so I come up with this thing. It's called SelfLationships. And, it's about just self-care. It's about self-responsibility, not just I'm by myself, yay, but it's just about, you got to take care of yourself and you can do it by yourself. I'm not on there promoting being single by all means. That's not me, because I believe in great relationships. I believe in marriage. I believe in all that. But so I decided to go with, it's called the Taylor Talk Show. And Brian, I'm a poster. I think I posted, but it talks about self-relationships, talk about relationship with yourself. And I'm going to have people on the podcast talking about what it looks like to be, be able to be by yourself or get out and do things on your own and be okay. So that's the Taylor Talk Show. And it's going to be, I think I posted on my Facebook page, I'll be opening, I should be doing my first podcast on the 4th of February here where I live in California. So just going to be bringing people on and talking about, them making it, how they made it, and others can learn from each other.
Self-Lationships is the word of the day, and the gentleman that brought it to you, his name is Kitrick Taylor. I strongly advise you guys to check out the Taylor Talk Show and to pick up his book, Behind the Quiet Smile. You can do that at buyktbooks.com, and wherever you consume your podcast, pick up the Taylor Talk Show. The first episode will drop on the 4th of February. I'm definitely going to subscribe to it, and I hope you all do too. From Washington State and from Green Bay Packer fame, Kitrick Taylor joining me on this edition of the Brian Snow Show and the Brian Snow Podcast. You can pick it up wherever you consume your podcast. An absolute honor to have you on, my friend, and I hope to have you on a whole lot more.
Thank you, Brian. I appreciate it. It's a great moment just to be a part, and I'll continue to follow and to keep doing it. You're great. You're an awesome motivator. I love it. Thank you.
Thank you. Love you, partner. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Kitrick Taylor joining me here on this special abbreviated edition of the Brian Snow Show. Don't forget, I got a full show coming up at 3 o'clock this afternoon, where I will welcome the general of the AFC South, Mike Patton, and Dana Regan will join me for the Tuesday edition of Baseball Bros within the program. God bless. See y'all later.
Thank you for tuning into The Brian Snow Show, where sports is the base, life and fun are the results.